What's up, everybody, and welcome to WP Beginner. I am back here today with another WordPress journey story, and I am absolutely privileged to be joined by Rahul Bansal, who you are likely to know from rtCamp. However, his story and his journey is much larger than that and quite inspiring and very impressive, if I do say so myself. I'm very pleased to have you here today, Rahul, and we'll just kick off. We'll go straight into it. A lot of people, like I say, will know who you are. However, for those who don't, could you give us an overview of where you are now? So, what your role is right now, and also an overview of RT Camp itself, because that's obviously your big headline element at the moment.
Yeah. So I'm currently the founder and CEO of rtCamp. rtCamp is enterprise focused consulting agency. We have been around like close to 16 years. Like literally next week we will be celebrating our 16th anniversary. And yep, so rtCamp is what I currently do most, solving enterprise agency problems. And then on the sidelines, we're building some products also for large enterprises.
Nice, excellent. So RT Camp 16 years now. That's impressive. That's been going on a long time, and you've got to be getting something right to be going 16 years, right?
Uh, Now it looks like we got something right, but it wasn't getting it all right all the time. Like there were a lot of misses before few hits.
Yeah, I understand that. I completely see. It takes time to get to where
Yeah.
you are, and handily enough, that's exactly what we are here to talk about today. Is how we get from one place to another. So I do want to go back to your early days, like what you were doing before RT Camp became this huge success that it is. So you focused more on development and freelancing instead of continuing maybe your professional blogging, which is something you were doing. So, in why did you choose to do that?
Uh, so my journey doesn't have any specific start date because it was quite organic. I was a student and I was also involved in some political activism. So my first blog was not even a technical blog. My first blog was political blog.
Okay.
So that's how I discovered blogging when I was still a student in my like graduation final year, 2006, 5, 6. And I was part of a political movement at that point, which ended after a while. But then I left with this tool called blogging. So it was on blogger.com. It's still around, but not very popular. So I thought like this is a cool platform. So I started writing about my code, tech, and other tech things. So I launched my first tech blog, Davis Workshop, around those days. Again, organic, no plan. I was still a student, no rush to earn a living. But then through Devil's Workshop, I landed on Google AdSense. I landed on some affiliate marketing programs, like especially selling web hosting packages and other. And at the same time, I landed on WordPress. So I moved my blog to WordPress, started taking it seriously, started making a living out of it. And that's how kind of become professional blogger before blogging as a profession was even recognized in the society. And it was going well, but then since I was writing a lot about my coding, uh, few people reach out in comments like, "Hey, I follow your article, but are you available for hire? Like, rather than me following your tutorial, I pay you say this $10, $20, and you do it for me." Like small customization to Blogger template or WordPress themes here and there, and that's how I started getting some work interest. So, so I so I started uh, programming more code, and over the time I realized that I am earning more from my programming gigs rather than uh, like writing blog articles. So it was an organic shift in that sense. And personally, I found it much more fulfilling to create something rather than write about others' creation. So as a tech news blogger, my main content was what Apple did, what Google did, and how it is cool or how it is uncool. So it's like rather than covering somebody else's creation, creating something I found more joyful. So I started uh, writing more and more softwares like WordPress themes, plugins, some non-WordPress project also I did in early days.
Nice. So we've gone from, like you say, it all kind of like it blends together, doesn't it? Your story.
Yeah,
So we've got the blogging. So we're doing that professionally, nothing to do with tech. Then
yeah,
that moves. Then you're discovering other things along there, such as, like you say, AdSense and various things like that. And then
yeah,
you launch Devil's Workshop. So that's a tech-based blog.
yeah,
Then that moves to WordPress, and then from WordPress you start getting these people who are basically like, hey, look, I don't want to do this. Can you do
yeah,
this for me? And then
yeah,
that is so my next question was going to be like, how did you get your first freelance project? But that's how it happened. It's just a very organic process where
yeah,
people are just coming to you and asking, can you do this for me? So that's kind of how you got going as a freelancer. Is that right?
yeah. Yeah, so, but then as I discovered freelancing as a way to earn a living, I also signed up for all this website like I think there was Scriptlance, freelancer.com. Today, I think something like Upwork. So I
Upwork, yeah.
signed up on those websites, started bidding on projects for myself. And so initially my goal was to only freelance, but then around same time, it was 2008, uh, second half of 2008, and uh, that global recession that we saw in 2008, that was just happening. So a lot of my friends who graduated at the same time lost their job. Like the so there was a lot of unemployment around me, and I was getting more work than I could handle because I was winning new projects. The projects I did earlier, those are coming back. Those clients are coming back for their next project. Projects were getting bigger as they like my work. They wanted me to hire me for bigger project. So I thought, like, rather than saying no, why don't I help my friends? I thought, while you find a job with some established company, why don't you help me handle this extra work, and we will split the money.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I want to keep talking about rtCamp, and I want to go back a little bit to its formation. Now, did that come about simply because of what you were telling me, where you had the kind of the business coming in and you expanded from there?
Yeah, yeah.
Or was it like something like a just a gap in the market that you saw to expand? Or was it quite simply, we're doing this, we're good at this, let's keep going?
Initially, rtCamp was supposed to be the holding company for our media network. So apart from Devil's Workshop, we had other blogs also. We had one on WordPress also, but it could nowhere be matched to WP Beginners. We want to, so we had a blog called WP Veda, which we wanted to be all things WordPress resource. But WP Beginner is very well executed. Like the entire network, that's like mad effort. As a once a blogger, I understand like how painful or how much effort goes into building such a large publishing network. So, but like we had this small network publishing network, Davis Workshop and few other properties. One was around cricket, the game. Then there was one around fashion, one around satire. It's like 5, 6 blogs. So Articam was the holding company
For all of them.
for of them. Yeah, Uh, supposed to be the holding company when it gets registered,
Yeah.
but by the time it got registered, our interest started moving to agency business or this because uh, I found it was easier to scale engineers. Like you can have 5 more engineers who write same code rather than hiring 5 more authors who can produce same editorial quality.
Yeah.
So I found writing, the blog writing or journalism as such, is more personal in that sense, more subjective. Like you cannot scale as you would scale engineers. Like with engineers, you have coding standards, right? Coding guideline. There is a quality assurance phase where somebody tests the software. So, so with coding, you can scale a lot more. But with writing, I was struggling because some writers were not able to meet my quality expectations. Some were not able to uh, dig deep into the topic. There were like some didn't even bother to verify technical claims.
Okay.
So I had like a lot of issues with writers. So slowly that thing started tapering down, and RTCam become more and more engineering heavy. And I think 4 years into RTCam, we shut down all our media properties one by one. Slowly,
And you
yeah.
just focused on the
Agency
technical
business.
side of the
Yeah,
agency business.
technically. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
So that's yeah, again, it's all very organic, isn't it? Like
yeah,
everything is it's you're just following the natural progression of
yeah,
things. Um do you remember like kind of what some of those first freelance gigs that you got were, like the small ones, like
yeah,
things that
yeah.
you would take on? What kind of things were you doing?
So my number one project, like absolute number one project, I got the one that I actually got paid for was from website called scriptlance.com. I'm not sure if that website is around or not. It was a client, I remember Martin from Germany. He paid me $10. That basically, anytime he publish a WordPress article, it should be automatically tweeted to his Twitter account. And there was
Okay.
no what it was very early days. There were no WordPress plugins, and he wanted to be tweeted in certain way. So I wrote a small plugin which tapped into WordPress hooks and automatically posted to his blog. Those $10 actually went to Scriptlance because they had minimum bid $10, and $10 was their marketplace fees. So I got actually paid nothing, but then he gave me 5-star review, and he hired me for a bigger project later on, which was building a Google Map game uh, to identify German cities. Uh,
Okay.
yeah,
So that makes sense. Like, and I'm obviously thinking about our audience right now. This idea of people who are aspiring to do things like such as yourself,
yeah,
and I think that's a very good way to look at things. Is this idea of taking on these smaller projects, whether they be $10 or what turned out to be no dollars,
yeah.
and because
$0.
yeah, because in the end it's going to lead to bigger things. So you I'm assuming your advice would be if some to for somebody starting out to take those smaller projects, build up
Yeah,
a
yeah.
portfolio. And for you, was that, I assume, don't want to put words in your mouth, I'll let you answer, but that 5-star review to you was worth as
Was
much as the
yeah, yeah,
$10.
definitely.
Yeah.
In fact, it was way more worth because I was this like blank profile on Scriptlance, zero project done, and nobody would hire a person. So I was grateful to Martin till date. Like he hired person who had nothing to show on his experience. He trusted me and he gave me project one, then another project, and then eventually there were lots of stars on my profile that helped me get bigger project. One of the big project that we got from Scriptlance in those days was Managed WP. It is now acquired by GoDaddy, but it was in early days. It was is prototype was built by rtCamp, and we I met Vladimir through Scriptlance. So it was a significantly bigger project that came from the same site where I got paid nothing for my first project. But then it was fair. Like so Scriptlance told me that this is a $10 is minimum we charge. So they recommended me to bid higher, but
Mm.
I want to bid lowest possible amount, and I just wanted to get a project and finish it. It was a very small project. From description, I could sense like I finished that plugin in say 15-20 minutes. Yeah. So
Totally worth it. Totally worth
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Then second thing I did was different that most people miss. So not only I took project at absurdly low price initially, but after first 2 3 project like that Twitter proxy and then Google Maps game and all, I moved my focus to a more of a strategic learning. So I realized that there are lots of projects in the market. Like I mean. Uh, so once your profile has some experience, some stars, it's easier to get subsequent project. Then there was project around everything like PHP, JavaScript, WordPress, and all. And at that point, I decided that hey, I want to become WordPress expert, not just uh, like do it all kind of programmer. So so during that time, I created a list of things I want to learn in WordPress. So it was WordPress 2.5.1, and there was this media library was getting revamped in WordPress. So I started looking for, is anyone posted any ad for media library projects? So so I kind of created a list of things that I want to learn with WordPress, but at the same time I went looking for people posting projects about them. So my learning will be paid by. So it's like I will be learning something, but somebody will be paying for my learning.
Yeah,
And since those projects were fixed cost project, any mistakes I do, any rework I do on me, so the client will be only paying fixed cost against a predictable outcome. So no loss for them if I am slow or if I'm taking longer to learn something. Uh, but in the process, I learned different aspects of WordPress, which wouldn't have been possible if I would have just started taking any project coming my way.
yeah.
So creating that list of things I want to learn about WordPress helped me pick WordPress faster.
Interesting. That's a really smart way of going about something. You're literally you're getting paid to learn, basically, to get
Yeah.
better at your job. I like that. So you said there you wanted to become an expert in WordPress, and this is definitely where I want to head, of course, because WP Beginner WordPress is what we
Yeah.
do. So why WordPress is the simple question. Why did you choose that WordPress was going to be the platform and WordPress is where you wanted to specialize?
So so like uh, before becoming WordPress freelancer, my blog was on WordPress, Dennis Workshop. So it was naturally for me, like if I'm using WordPress, then I want to build my career on WordPress. I had no maturity to predict that WordPress will become this big. I mean, I didn't even knew about those concepts like market share, growth potential, all those. For a student, like I was a student, like, and I just landed WordPress while learning blogging. I moved from Blogger to WordPress because I want flexibility. I got all the flexibility on WordPress, and amazingly, I found WordPress community a lot good. Like how do I put? Like I have been part of other open source communities, and there was some elitism in those communities. I felt like I won't name and shame particularly, yeah, but then I felt like there were like this group of people who are like the veteran in those community, and if you're new, uh, y like your journey was hard. Like WordPress on the other hand was very welcoming. Still today, when I go back and look into my first WordPress plugin that I published in plugin directory, very first version, I'm literally embarrassed to see that code. It was such a poorly written code which didn't even utilize many of the WordPress API. But whoever plugin moderator was there at that time, that person was very kind to me. I mean, it was not breaking any security guidelines, any such that, but they could have threw ton of feedback towards me, like do this, use this API,
Mm.
use that API, and objectively could have rejected my plugin, but then they didn't reject it. The plugin went live. When people started using it, it gave me encouragement to make it better. Like it was very hard because Blogger to WordPress, the plugin's job was to help people from Blogger to WordPress. I moved my blog already, so any subsequent enhancement are no help for me. So it's like so it's like the plugin is no use of me after I move.
Of
My
course.
only blog was on Blogger. I already moved it. So but then that cycle continued, that people were using it, they were giving feedback, leaving nice reviews. If something was broken in my code, the community was a place and still is a place where uh, people are very considerate of each other. Like it's not like nobody use any harsh language. So that community aspect kind of hold it. So it's not like I was jumping from one open source community to another open source community, because like WordPress, I was using many other open source technology in my day-to-day life. But with WordPress, I found that community, the kind of community that I want to be part of and I want to hang around. So that kind of and extended my stay on WordPress to the point when we decided, hey, we want to become WordPress. Initially, I want to become WordPress expert personally, and when rtCamp started, we wanted to be WordPress agency from day one. Like, we are very sure that we are not going to take random projects. All projects we do has to do something with WordPress.
And that's it's a similar, very similar ideology to what you had earlier as well. You've taken that over
Yeah,
into rtCamp. You decided you were going to go through and specifically learn about one thing and like really hone in on WordPress, and
yeah,
that's gone all the way through into rtCamp. rtCamp is
yeah,
now WordPress specific. That's exactly what
yeah,
you do. I love that. Like it's a very, I feel like it's a philosophy that whether intentionally or not has completely like run through
yeah.
everything that you've done, and I love that. I'm going to ask you a question which
Sure, sure.
is definitely geared towards my personal biases because we are WP beginner.
Yeah,
So obviously, you at one point were a beginner on WordPress, and now moved to have this incredible agency. All I'm going to ask is, have you ever had the opportunity, or have you ever used WP Beginner in your own WordPress journey over time?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I use it a lot in the early days, and I still use it. Like, even though it says beginner, I find it incredibly useful. Like sometimes we just want to. So I like the listicles that comes from W Beginner a lot. So if I'm looking about any particular category and I want to see all the plugins in a particular category for some reason. So I like those articles on WP Beginner which compares different plugins or tools in for a single use case.
Nice, thank you very much. I say it's definitely a bias. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
tell me how great WP Beginner is.
Uh,
You've obviously mentioned coding a few times there, your engineers and everything like that. Again, speaking to those people who are looking to maybe get into WordPress, developing anything like that, you obviously have a background that comes from coding. Is there, obviously you found this useful, is there a particular coding language that you think is useful for people to know, or is there kind of some tips for people in terms of how to go about maybe learning to code, especially in relation to WordPress? Because again, for aspiring developers, this could be crucial
mhm.
information.
Yeah. So yeah. So if you have formal education in computer science or any kind of engineering, it helps. Like a lot of things that we do as a programmer, I have been taught as a part of my engineering. But then I have met many engineers, many programmers who never had any formal education in computer science or related field. So it all depends on your interest. There's, I think, CS 51 something. Yeah, CS 51 by Howard. There is a course on YouTube that's like computer science fundamental. You can complete. Let me see if I can. Yeah, it's like CS 50 or CS 51. So it's
Okay.
like a Harvard. It's a course by Harvard where they teach you computer science fundamentals very well on YouTube. Um, I think if anybody wants to, so if anybody wants to have a career in programming, must understand computer science fundamentals very well. Most people miss that initial part. They directly jump to Hello World or like coding exercise, blogging tutorials. I
Yeah.
believe on the other end, your focus should be more on getting the fundamentals right. Like it's like it's e- then any learning you do will stick around. And so if you are looking to make career in WordPress, PHP and JavaScript are the only choices in languages. But otherwise, also I think language is more of a personal choice, like what language you are comfortable with. Once if your fundamentals are clear, you can switch from one language to another language very easily. Like, and with all this GitHub Copilot and all, mm, it's like very easy to write things in languages you don't even understand. Yeah, and in fact, I built a Mac app and I still don't no idea how Swift language work. I built completely in Swift and I use it on daily basis.
But like you said, but you have the fundamentals. So this is like
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the
So I could,
recommendation is that if you
yeah.
have the fundamentals, you can do that.
Yeah, so I don't understand the Swift's as a language syntax, but looking at the code, I can logically make it think, okay, this is what will launch a screen. This is how it will accept my input. This is where it will store that input. This is how it will trigger something at on download event. So, uh, so logical building blocks are always same. It's just I don't know the syntax. So I just
Yeah,
have to tell Copilot like, hey, Copilot. Uh, I'm coding in Swift and I want this application to show menu with these many settings or these many controls. And then it gives the code, you read through the code, you kind of get, okay, it's still English, so you understand, okay, this looks like fine, you run it and it works. If it doesn't work, you go little
go
bit
go
tweaking
back and
around.
try again.
Yeah, yeah,
Excellent.
yeah,
That's a really good tip, and the YouTube channel for people to check out there, because like you say, that gives you so much flexibility,
yeah,
particularly people who want to like start freelancing, because it's great
yeah,
to have that flexibility as well. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Um, so of course, rtCamp, you've gone from this small little independent up to this huge option in the market.
yeah,
And you are WordPress's, sorry, you're Asia's first WordPress Gold VIP partner.
yeah,
So
yeah.
congratulations on
Thank you.
that. But obviously, that makes you stand out. So if you have, we're talking to maybe the entrepreneurs now, if they want to maybe start a business and they want to stand out, what would be your advice from your learnings on RT Camp?
So, so this is what we call as a playbook that we have created at again. If you want to be part of any, if you want to be an agency in any open source ecosystem, not just WordPress, say you want to go to do a Laravel agency or you want to build a React agency, maybe Android agency. One playbook that we found is, so this is like a tough challenge, like how to take care of capex, but you have to really give out a lot, like give back a lot, uh, rather than making tall claims about, say, like you want to build a WordPress agency today. My first advice would be to be part of community. So if you are an engineering agency, make sure your engineers contribute to the WordPress core. Uh, if you are some marketing business agency, try to tap into those make channels and WordPress.org channels. And the idea is that your work should speak for yourself rather than you claiming that we have. So, like, let's say, like, you want to sell engineering. One way is to tell that, add fake testimonial, something like that, and just shout like we are the best engineering agency in town. 99% people trust us, 10,000 hours of coding, and all that mumbo jumbo. Or you can say that patch in WordPress core is contributed by my team member. That
Yeah,
you can go check, verify that patch is indeed by us. If there is any discussion on the that track ticket, you can go through it and you can verify. If my
yeah,
team can write codes that gets merged into the WordPress core, then that means they know something really well. So that has been our pitch. Like in early days, also we didn't build any fancy website. I mean, we had a cute looking website in early days, but that was a more of a creative thing. No strong copywriting. It was always, hey, we are WordPress core contributors. Uh, uh, can we talk about your project next? Like it was very simple. No big deck or no tall claim. And I think this works in any community. So uh, that's the idea of open source. Like you're doing everything in public, so people can see it. If you're in open source and you cannot show your work, then there's something wrong. Like
yeah,
or you say we will show you demo, we will show you samples on call. Why? Why? What is so much to hide about? Your core contribution, your themes plugin, your like they can act as your portfolio. Like see that plugin, that's by us. If you use by 1,000 plus people, you can say like you don't need million active users, even 100 user or even no users. Like you just put your code out there. If client is technical, they will go through the code and realize that what kind of code quality you would bring.
Yeah, and it is
So
like you say, it's showing quality
yeah,
rather than, like you say,
talking
sticking
about
a
it.
billboard up and saying, "Hey, look how incredible we are." It's like, no,
Yeah,
here, like this is genuinely how good
yeah,
we are. That's again fantastic advice. Thank you so much. Um, so there's just a couple of things I
sure.
want to finish off with, basically. There's the first one being for you. We've obviously spoken about the background in computer science and needing those fundamentals, but is there any other pieces of advice or things or skills that you think potential developers or entrepreneurs wanting to use WordPress should have? Things that they should maybe look at and be like, okay, this is something that I need to know or something that I need to learn outside of what we've already spoken about.
One thing I feel is patience, because how do I put, like, the WordPress ecosystem is big, and it's still, in my opinion, like, for the size of ecosystem, WordPress ecosystem is very big, the number of companies, and but like, we are our own universe. Like, if you go to traditional recruiter or some like market, like, you will see React job, you will see AI jobs, but usually those places don't have WordPress job. WordPress jobs are more discoverable within WordPress community, like post status. So there will be channels like WP job board, something like that. So so WordPress has its own ecosystem. So so when you enter, you need to at least give yourself 6 months, 6 months to a year to build a strong portfolio. Uh, s- if you don't have any earning resource, start bidding, start taking smaller jobs. But have patience, because patience is really needed. And there's a dual patience. Like, first, you have to be patient to find bigger opportunities. Like, within WordPress ecosystem, you will end up switching from one company to another company. You will try multiple jobs before you get in better position. Uh, then there is another force, depending on who you hang out with. Uh, you may have people who look down on WordPress. Like, they will say, this is a very old technology. This is very legacy technology. Uh, so they will try to lure you into Merge stack or Node.js jobs or AI jobs or machine learning, something like, uh, they will tell you WordPress is not cool, PHP is boring. Uh, there will be a lot of questions uh, r- that will be raised on your choice, and that is the time you have to be mentally strong. That it's not like AI versus WordPress or anything versus anything. It's just, if you like WordPress or anything else, just stick to it. The way I say is, like, you only need one job. So, so it doesn't matter if a technology has 1,000 jobs or other technology million job. To feed your family, you only need one job,
Yeah.
and you have to ask yourself, if there is only one WordPress engineer is going to get hired tomorrow, why it can't be me? Why I, or if tomorrow there's going to be one COBOL engineer or Python engineer, why it can't be me? Like, how I become better at my craft rather than trying to learn little bit of everything. So, and that's where that 6 month to 1 year patience and this plays together. Like, so when you know that I'm going to be around for 6 months, a year, you show up in community, you, depending on your job profile you're looking, if you're looking for 9 to 5 job, you start applying at WordPress businesses. If you're building a freelancing kind of career, maybe you should go to your local WordPress meetup group, WordCamps, to find smaller clients that can directly hire you. So there is a path for everybody. It just, you need patience to at least stick on that path for a year, and during that initial year, you have to, uh, like, insulate yourself against that noise. Like, it I see it happens especially in younger groups, people in 20s. They find WordPress, they like WordPress, they join WordPress, and then after some time they question their choice. Like, they think, am I doing right thing? Am I am I on a sinking ship? Uh, is so they have this a lot of doubt and uncertainty, and that's where they uh, try to run behind something trending, like which is like AI or microservice or something like, uh, and that's where uh, it's not like that is bad. At least stick to that. The problem is
Yeah,
they go there, then somebody else said, no, 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 you should go to crypto. Crypto is a new trend. Learn something with blockchain, and then they shift to blockchain. And after 2, 3 years of their youth, the prime time where their brain is trying to learn something very deeply, those 2, 3 years they keep switching between 7 to 8 technologies, and they blame all the technologies.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, so it's like essentially whatever you happen to be into,
yeah,
like obviously we're talking WordPress here, whatever we happen to be into, into get into it. Like you don't need
yeah,
to switch here and there. And
yeah, yeah.
I like your advice there that like, if there's one job, there's no reason it can't be you. Like
Yours,
and
yeah,
you don't need a job in, like you say, in crypto with blockchain and in WordPress.
yeah,
You just need one of those things so you can take the time and become an
yeah,
expert in that one thing. I think that's great advice, and uh, do the thing that you enjoy as well. Like obviously you're
yeah,
mentioning that there. Find if it is WordPress, find that thing, and if you enjoy WordPress, then get into WordPress,
yeah.
join the community,
Yeah.
and go deep into it. I love that. That's really great advice.
Oh,
So my final question for you today is essentially all about rtCamp. I know there's obviously going to be things you can say and can't say, but what's next for rtCamp? What's the future of rtCamp?
so one is to grow our agency business. Uh, we believe in WordPress, and we still think we can scale multiple from here. Like our goal is to have 500 people team working on WordPress. Currently, we are 230. Within 230, we can say 200 are roughly WordPress engineers, 30 are admin, other management, other staff. Our goal is to have 500 engineers team working solely on WordPress in coming years. At the same time, we are expanding our open source portfolio. So that ERP platform we have been working on 2 years. We started offering consultancy around it, and there's just some crappy and React projects also we are taking in between. So this is the agency side. The agency side is mm, WordPress heavy, WordPress centered, WordPress focused, and then we are launching bunch of products. Then these products are again made for WordPress ecosystem, but compared to conventional themes and plugin ecosystem, we are taking things more of a SaaS way, where we want to we want to unlock potential of a WordPress. For example, say a WordPress site say cannot do video transcoding at scale, or so we have a SaaS adapter which can plug into your WordPress and take care of video transcoding smoothly. Like probably at some day we will have this Riverside FM recording will be happening on WordPress site. So
Yeah,
so it's like we are looking around to see what SaaS companies do that WordPress lags, and then uh, bundle as much as into WordPress. And if there is any microservice that is absolutely cannot be done in WordPress, when we say WordPress, things cannot be done in WordPress, we mean a $5 shared hosting plan where you cannot install FMPEG or any kind of binaries. So,
yeah,
so those things offload to a SaaS worker, get it done. And we are around this pattern. We are launching roughly 5 products this year, one after another. So it's like we hope to make WordPress more capable, uh, as capable as some SaaS players. So let's. So that's a long shot, because agencies, what comes to naturally to us, product is something that's like a shot in the blind. Let's see how if it goes well or not.
yeah, absolutely. But hey, it's the next step, and I love that it's the contribution that it makes to the WordPress community, to WordPress in general, is massive, and I think that like part of that is what keeps WordPress so interesting to me and keeps it a community and something that we just keep coming back to. Is people doing things like that, and being able to develop these extra facilities, these extra products that can be used to do incredible things. There's almost nothing you can't do on WordPress.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that's all I've got for you today. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for speaking to me. That's been really, really insightful. I will, of course, be sending this out to all the future potential entrepreneurs, developers, engineers who hopefully will be doing great work in the community as well. So thank you very much for joining me today, and to everybody watching or reading this, as it would be on WP Beginner, thank you very much. Do remember to like this video and get subscribed, and we will see you again very soon.